I've been a fan of Avatar ever since it aired on Nickelodeon 20 years ago. I have all the comics, the art books, and I'm working through the novels now. Being a woodworker that specializes in fine furniture and art, it feels right to build something based off of Aang's glider. And since the show pulls so much from real Asian culture, it feels even more right to add Kumiko to it, which is a traditional Japanese craft that I specialize in. I want it to be accurate to the show, so I found this reference image in the art book, traced it in Illustrator, and I was able to work out all the angles and curves from there. I'm starting with the main body of the glider, which is also Aang's staff. I'm using Sapele for this because it has a warm reddish brown tone that's really close to the color of the staff in the show. First step is ripping it down to final size on the table saw. Near each end of the staff there are two squares mounted at a 45-degree angle. This is the area where the arms of the glider hinge from in the show. I'm cutting them on the table saw so the grain lines stay vertical once they're turned at that angle, matching the grain lines on the staff. To attach the squares, I'm routing a recess into the staff using a template and flush trim bit, taking several shallow passes with the router and then cleaning up the inside corners with a chisel. Once the pockets are clean, the squares get glued in, keeping them proud of the surface just slightly so that they catch the light and add a bit of depth. After the glue dries, I add a chamfer to all the edges of the staff. And I should have done this before gluing in the squares because the router can't reach into these corners. I thought about cleaning it up by hand, but I really like how this looks, and it creates more visual depth than a uniform chamfer would. Before moving on, I figured I should test out the staff for quality control. Not bad, but could be smoother. Aang had years to become a master, and I only had about 10 minutes and a cup of tea. Next up are the arms, also out of Sapele so that they match the staff. First cutting them to width on the table saw and then switching to a crosscut sled to cut them to length, but keeping them a few inches longer than they need to be for now. Now for the part that has to be right, the angles on the ends of the arms. This is a big portion of the glider, so there's not a lot of room for error here. I clamp each arm to a carriage so I can cut these long tapers. Opposite sides get their own angle and length, so when they're all together, the arms nest neatly against each other with the right angle and the correct spacing. I do the same process for the lower tail section. Gluing the arms together is a bit tricky because of the geometry. So I built a custom jig that holds all four arms in place and uses the angles I just cut as a built-in wedge to keep the seams tight. 3 arms go in and get clamped first so that they can't back out. Then I hammer in the 4th one in place to wedge everything tight before clamping that one down too. A little bit of Saka level over engineering works well. The arms for the tail are much simpler to clamp. These joints are small and mostly end grain, so at this stage they're very fragile. Getting the arms out of the jig is a careful process. Once they're out, I drill through the joint and glue in a dowel to reinforce it. After a bit of cleanup, trimming the dowel flush, then cutting the edge of the joint so that it meets the staff cleanly, it's ready for the next step. I spent a while thinking through how to attach the arms to the staff. A floating tenon would have been the simplest option, but I don't have the tools for that, so I'm going to go with dowels instead. After careful layout, I drill into the arms as straight as I can by hand. To make sure the matching holes end up at the right spot on the staff, I use dowel centers to transfer those locations. They leave a small indent in the wood, which not only marks their location, but gives the drill bit a good starting point. These holes get drilled out on the drill press. With the holes drilled, I put glue on the ends of the arms and the mating spot on the staff, then place in dowels and bring the pieces together. Clamping is as tricky as I expected, so I focus on one side at a time. Let it dry, then move to the other side. On the second side, I realized I only need one clamp for this. I'm replacing the fabric of Aang's glider with Kumiko. And because I'm doing that, I need to create a frame around the Kumiko to house it. I wanted to do this with Sapele so that it matches the rest of the staff, but Sapele doesn't bend very well, so I opted for cedar instead. I just milled all of these on the table saw and ran them through the drum sander on both sides so that they're uniform thickness and nice and smooth. I also created some bending forms of different radiuses on the CNC so that I can get all the curves that I need. Now it's time to bend and glue these up. I'm using Western red cedar for this because it's straight-grained and lightweight, which makes it easy to mill into thin strips and bend without cracking. It's a classic choice for bent lamination. A lot of strip-built canoes use it for the exact same reason. I start clamping from the center and loosely placing clamps to get the shape started. Then I work my way to one end while making sure the strips lay flat and get clamped evenly before working my way to the opposite end. I've done bent laminations before, and every time I do it, I greatly underestimate the amount of clamps truly needed. There are 3 different radiuses needed across the 4 curves. Here's what a few look like straight out of the bending forms, and there's still one more in the clamps. Once everything's dry, I run each curve through the drum sander, cleaning up their surfaces and bringing them down to their final thickness. Next, I need to cut slots into the staff so the curves can intersect cleanly. I temporarily clamp the curves in place to mark the exact locations where those slots need to go. To make sure these slots are cut accurately, I 3D printed a set of guides with matching curves that work with my router and pattern bit. I took a few shallow passes to get to the final depth needed, and repeated this process on all 4 locations. I purposely left the arms long earlier so I can cut them to their exact length once everything's in place. I clamp the cedar into its final position, mark where it intersects the arms, and take my time cutting to these lines. There's also a small recess needed on the long outer arms. This is where the cedar will get attached to. To complete that joinery, the cedar gets cut to length and receives a half lap on its ends. Time to glue the cedar into place. I'm starting with the tail since it's the simplest. A good warm-up before the more complex ones up top. I'm brushing on the glue and then press each piece into place. I'm using small blocks of wood under each clamp so I can apply the pressure exactly where it's needed. With the tail done, I repeat the same process for the upper section. Right now, the ends of the arms are still floating. To add strength to both them and the curves, I'm attaching the two together. I considered dowels again, but a screw makes more sense here. The thread pulls the pieces together tight. I'm using trim screws here specifically, since the heads are small and easy to hide. All of this will be covered with some pieces later, so it won't be visible in the end. To finish off the arms, I sand in a long taper to blend them into the curves. If you've visited my channel before, you've likely seen Kumiko in a few of my projects already. It's a traditional Japanese craft that dates back to the Asuka period, about 600 to 700 AD. It all starts with a grid, which will be built by the pieces I'm cutting right now. Kumiko is a very deep topic. I have several videos that go further into different patterns and how they apply to different kinds of projects. I'll link a few of those in the description if you want to explore the craft further. All the joints in the grid get glued together. The glue provides a lot of strength, especially for a larger panel like this. This panel will make up one of the wings of the upper portion of the glider. Two smaller grids were made in the same way for the tail. Once the grids are dry, I removed most of the waste to get close to the final size. Then I set the grid into the glider and trace the final shape using a spacer that will frame the Kumiko later. Each line gets cut carefully to match the exact shape, cutting all these strips at slight angles to match the curves. For the straight sections, I hold down a piece of wood as a guide to keep the cut perfectly straight. Time for a test fit, and to see if all of those cuts are accurate. Basswood strips frame the Kumiko within its space, and give the rough ends of the grid a clean place to terminate it into. I like using basswood for Kumiko since it's light in color and soft enough to be fine-tuned without much effort. This test fit is about checking that everything sits flush and even before moving on to the next step, and making any adjustments if needed. Thankfully, it all worked well. The upper sections are trimmed and fitted in the same way. I love how this is turning out. The next step is the infill pattern. And for that, I have a lot of different ideas, and there's hundreds of different Kumiko patterns to choose from. Since this is a pretty complex shape to begin with, I think I want to keep it pretty simple and stick with the popular Asanoha pattern. But I'm going to use different types of wood so that I can highlight different areas and create patterns within the pattern. Asanoha is the most popular Kumiko pattern, and it even extends past woodworking. It's easy to see why once you know what it means. The name translates to hemp leaf, and it's been used since the Heian period. Hemp grows fast and grows straight, so the pattern became a symbol of children's healthy growth, and it's still common on babies' clothing in Japan today. It all starts with the right tools and jigs. These Kumiko jigs cut the exact angle needed on these small pieces, while also trimming it to the proper length. And they're not just for this project. I offer these in my shop along with a full Kumiko starter kit, which includes wood, jigs, and instructions. If you've been wanting to try Kumiko yourself, that's a great low-pressure way to get started and learn at your own pace. In total, this project took over 100 pieces of basswood, plus a handful of sapele worked in for contrast. I carefully removed the grids from the glider so I can fill them in. With all the pieces cut, assembling the pattern is straightforward. Because of the angles cut on the pieces, they fit together cleanly within the triangles of the grid. After test fitting every piece and making sure the pattern looks right, I remove them one at a time and glue each one into place. Traditionally, Kumiko doesn't need glue to hold together. The joinery and precision do that work on their own. But adding it here just helps this piece stay together for longer. Once the glue is dry, the panels get sanded smooth. When I was designing this pattern, I wanted something that actually represents Aang. So the design reads as wispy clouds drifting across the sky, with a sun in the center visually tying the two wings together. And tucked into the corners are 4 diamonds, one for each of the elements and nations. Before the Kumiko goes back in, the glider needs to be finished. I'm using Danish oil for that. I want to keep the finish off the Kumiko entirely, since it would amber the basswood and change that bright, clean color. I'm also being careful to avoid any spots that still need glue later, since the finish will prevent the glue from having a good bond. As I was applying the finish, I realized I forgot to fill in these areas behind the cedar. These grooves have a slight curve, so rather than force one solid piece, I glue in thin strips, letting them bend gently to follow that curve. A little trimming, a coat of oil, and this part is finished. With everything finished and dried, it's time to glue the Kumiko panels into the glider. The fit is intentionally tight, so putting them in takes some care if I want to prevent breaking. I'm moving slowly to make sure each part settles in exactly right. The wings still need more work after this, but this is a big step forward. The last pieces of wood are thin cedar strips used to trim out the Kumiko. For the back of the glider, I found this canvas at a local fabric store. The color is an exact match to Aang's glider in the show. To attach it to the glider, I glue it directly to the back of the wood. I let the glue begin to dry slightly before trimming off the excess fabric. The last step is to add some hanging hardware, and it's done. This is easily one of the more meaningful builds I've done, and it felt right to bring the two things I love, this show and this craft, together into one piece. If any part of this build made you want to try Kumiko yourself, I have everything you need linked below to get started. Thanks for watching.